You're looking at a live image of an operation underway here in Val Verde. Now, this is just a practice for both of the nation's rescue task force. So the urban search and rescue teams from both the West Coast and the East Coast have met together today here in Val Verde. This is at the Valle Training Center for the Los Angeles County Fire Department. Now, what you see this crew doing right now is they're trying to work to move this pipe, and they have Heavy Rescue Task Force 103 here to assist them. But this is a practice for a certification here, once again, at the Valle Training Center in Val Verde. Now, the Los Angeles County Fire Department and the Fairfax County Urban Search and Rescue teams have come together. Now, they form what is known as USA Task Force 1 and USA Task Force 2. So these teams are deployed across the globe, internationally, to go to different situations involving, earthquakes, collapsed buildings, tsunamis. They've been to Nepal, they've been to Japan, they've been to South America, they've been to North America, they've been to, every continent on the globe to help these people and really to free people who are trapped under rubble. So you can see there's two operations going on here, one that you just saw and another one taking place on the other side here. Now, these crews are jackhammering to free someone who is trapped inside this collapsed parking structure. Now, they have a ventilation shaft that they have formed to help pipe in clean air for them. But you can see these people trained in all sorts of different things. Both teams comprise of about 75 people apiece. So you have approximately 150 rescuers here on site, including some from Iceland and some from Colombia. So international teams really joining together here in the Santa Clarita Valley on a beautiful day for, really rescue training. A little bit of a wind, a small breeze, not too hot, not too cold. We've been talking to some of the rescuers here, and they say that this is very tough work. This is very dangerous work as well, but their number one goal is to make everything safe for both the rescuers first and foremost, but also their victims. And you can see they have some people that are here, both live bodies that are able to, fulfill that function of being rescued as a victim, but also you can see there are some dummies here who, they have some makeup artists here and some prop demonstrators that are also here to help assist in the rescue, but also to make it more realistic. And for some of these people, they've seen the real thing, but in many cases, this is the real thing for them. Though it is a demonstration, they are treating this as a real scenario, but they're also helping between the two teams and some of the international teams that have joined them. They are basically talking about some of the different strategies that they use and share. So you're seeing, different countries coming together today to basically work to help save people. It's really a human aspect of this today. And people are really just being people. No matter where you're from, today everyone's family. And you're seeing, once again, those rescue crews from the United States, Iceland, and Colombia, amongst other countries. But, when you think about it, the United States has two international task force teams. Task Force 1 out of Fairfax County, Virginia, and Task Force 2 out of Los Angeles County, California. So LA County Fire Department forming the other side of the equation, the West Coast side and the East Coast side. But in many cases, we were talking to one of the battalion chiefs here who's running this operation. He said that in many cases they'll come together. 75 people really isn't a high number of people when you're talking about multiple collapsed structures in one community. And you're talking about a community or a country that is entirely devastated. So you're needing all hands on deck, but I can tell you these are all volunteer positions. These are people who have volunteered their time to put themselves in between danger and the people that need rescuing. So once again, Heavy Rescue Task Force 103 here out of Pico Rivera. They're here to assist in hoisting this pipe up, and they're working to free someone who is trapped inside. And once again, this is a simulation for both Task Force 1 and Task Force 2, but also their international counterparts in Colombia and Iceland and a few other countries here as well. We've been going around talking to people from the different countries and really seeing what their thoughts are. And we were talking to a gentleman from Colombia, and he had said that, they live off the Ring of Fire, they have a lot of earthquakes, they live in really a rugged terrain. And so for him, he said he's very thankful that the teams in the United States invited them to come here, really no questions asked. They came here to really teach each other, hey, when a disaster strikes and things go wrong, we're all in this together. And they want to show them their tools, what they have, how to use them, their different rescuing strategies. But they also have some canine teams here as well that have been participating in this event. Now, this is a 3-day-long event, but you're seeing a live picture from the parts that they're really allowing us to. They've been really gracious to really give us a front row view of everything that they're doing today, walking us through and giving us incredible detail about the operations that are underway here as part of their demonstration. But right now they've been working to remove this pipe for quite some time, but they want to do it right. And so you can see the two gentlemen on the bottom left of your frame. We're going to zoom into them. You have one gentleman on the left from Fairfax County, Virginia, and you have one gentleman on the right from the Los Angeles County Fire Department. And they've been really, you know, sharing their best practices together, and they're going to be working to align that pipe as soon as it's ready to be hoisted up and out. But I can tell you, it's really a team effort. Both men, women from both coasts, west and east, coming together today to really just, you know, unite one another. And so we've been talking to people today, and they've just been saying, you know, it's nice to have, you know, these people together. You know, you have one team that's traveled across the country to be here. In many cases, they alternate different coasts. You know, last year, Los Angeles County met with Fairfax County on the East Coast. This year, they're meeting here in the Santa Clarita Valley, in the Val Verde area, just off of Highway 126. Now, the Valle Training Center, a little bit of trivia about that. They actually have a full-size fake freeway. And I really say fake in air quotations because it's a built-to-scale freeway with real freeway signs. They have pyrotechnics, so they can practice those mass casualty incidents where you have multiple vehicles colliding, multiple vehicles on fire, school buses, city buses. They have it all here. And this is where they practice regionally for those types of scenarios. Today, they're in what they call the USAR pile. Now, this is the urban search and rescue area where they have different collapsed structures from some donated materials that have been, you know, really put to the test here, and they form what they really see in those countries where they see those building collapses and whatnot. And so Heavy Rescue Task Force 103 is operating this wirelessly, and they're operating the rig to move that pipe. And these two gentlemen here are going to be moving that pipe into place. They're going to be aligning it as they hoist it up and over. So, you know, it's really a delicate type of situation that they practice for. They practice for all sorts of scenarios, but, you know, safety is their #1 aspect. Keeping the rescuer safe is first and foremost, only because if you think about it, if you have a rescuer who's injured, that takes that person out of play to help rescue 4, 5, 10, 15 other people. And so they're trying to work to keep themselves safe so they can work to keep others safe. And that's really the theme of the practice here today as they work to really, you know, bring this to fruition. You know, a sense of like keeping this scenario safe, but also the people who are performing the, you know, the duties as the live victims, they also want to keep them safe as well. But you can see this pipe being moved up, be hoisted up and then put into place by those two gentlemen you saw, both one from Fairfax County, Virginia, and one from Los Angeles County here in the Santa Clarita Valley. And so just talking to the, you know, the people in charge, including the battalion chief, who I can tell you is a Canyon High School graduate, he was just talking about, you know, how he got into this and, you know, what they look into this. And they really, you know, their reward is seeing that person freed from something that they've been trapped in for, you know, 24, 48, 3-4 days. And you're seeing, you know, 24 to 48 hour operations turning into days because they're trying to really free those people safely. They don't want them to become any more injured than they already are. And so he said, you know, our biggest reward is seeing these people coming out alive and coming out safe. And so they practice to hoist pipes like this up to free people who are trapped underneath, but they do it safely to not shift anything around. And that's what they're trying to practice right now. But you can see that person from Heavy Rescue Task Force 103 up on top of that block. And he's operating it. I'm going to zoom in for just a second so you can see. But he's actually operating it from a remote control panel. And so he's using that panel to operate the rig to hoist this up safely and slowly. You know, they want to do this as best they can to not injure anyone, but also to, you know, land it just right. But you can see, I'm going to zoom out a little bit quicker. You can see the gentleman from, as we said earlier, one from Fairfax County, Virginia, one from Los Angeles County, working to hoist this and guide it into place. So that pipe should be landing right in front of us in just a second. But you can see the speed at which it moves is meant to keep everyone safe. They don't want this pipe to come undone. They were working on different strategies of strapping it and securing it to where they can, you know, control it safely, move it, you know, very gingerly as they work to try to keep it, you know, landing safely, securely, and to keep people out of harm's way. You know, that's really what it boils down to. But we thought, you know, this would be a really neat thing to show you, just our, you know, our nation's two teams, and we really only have two teams that serve as the United States Urban Search and Rescue Task Force. So you have Task Force Team 1 and Task Force Team 2. And once again, Task Force Team 1 out of Fairfax County, Virginia, and Task Force Team 2 out of Los Angeles County, California. Both teams, each of them comprising of really 75 people apiece. And so you have about 150 people total that serve as our nation's international teams that travel across the globe to help free people in different countries. And so the most recently they were deployed to Mexico for an earthquake that occurred, from what we heard, last year. And they, you know, in many cases, come together. Both teams were able to come together, deploy, and, you know, work to save people, pull them out of rubble and wreckage. And so you're seeing this taking place, but also you're seeing a makeshift elevator shaft also being used as they're hoisting people up and out. But, you know, look at this. You know, who doesn't love dogs? And that's what they've told us, you know, who doesn't love dogs? You can see some of the dogs here, you know, fulfilling that role of the USAR canines. You can see them between the two gentlemen here working to guide that pipe. And those are the USAR canines. They work to basically sniff out people who may be stuck in the wreckage, like, you know, the person that they're working to free here right now. You know, they're working to pull and hoist someone out of that wreckage right there. So they were jackhammering for quite a period of time and working to stabilize that concrete, but, you know, they've been working to free people out of, you know, cars, underneath cars, in collapsed parking garages, an elevator shaft. And I want to show you just how realistic this looks. You can see one person here as we work to pull focus on that area. You can see that one person dangling out of that vehicle. That is a dummy that they've used to simulate a real scenario. And from what we've talked to them about is that this is very real. This is what they see. In many cases, when you see this stuff on the news, you don't see what it's like to, you know, you don't see the gory details. You don't see things that stick in their memory for years to come. And this is something similar to what they see. They have makeup artists and prop houses that come out here with these dummies, and they make it as realistic as possible. Now, they've invited us to come down here to take part in it and to see, you know, generally what goes on, but we want to show you now that we can secure a better shot of that USAR dog. Now that's those are two urban search and rescue dogs, golden retrievers, that, you know, doing their jobs. They're going and sifting out through wreckage and rubble, and they're helping, you know, their handlers to find those people who are trapped. So they're training them to find scents, noises, finding, you know, their way in or out. They can let the dog go, and their dog will know, in many cases, the route to take and the route to travel back. And so you're going to see those dogs take off in just a short period of time as they work to introduce them to the scene here. But this has been a 3-day-long operation here at the Valle Training Center in Val Verde, and it's going to continue throughout the day and tomorrow. So that's going to do it for us here from this live demonstration, reporting live here from Val Verde. This is Austin Dave.